Hey guys, looking at question FM89 of the Further Maths Sharpened Study Guide. I've drawn up a quick little display of what's going on in either your download or your booklet there, but please refer to that for a more specific group of parallel box plots. Mine are pretty crude here. I've got the names on the opposite side, so don't let that throw you off, but let's get straight into it. So this question introduces us with: a group of friends record the number of times they seriously contemplate dropping out of Year 12 and pursuing a career in exotic dance, each day in the 8 days leading up to their exams. The parallel box plots below have been constructed from the data that was collected over the 8 days. So we've got 8 days worth of data for Sam, Joe, Carly, and Nev. So basically saying on each day, how many times do they contemplate dropping out and taking up exotic dance? So question A says, asks us to complete the following statements. So the friend who contemplated dropping out the least times in one day was. So least times you guys have blank squares in your booklets or in your downloads, so feel free to use those. I'm just going to quickly jot down references for you guys to have a look at. So the person who contemplated the least times, well, just by inspection we can see that Joe here obviously had one day where he only contemplated dropping out once in in one of his 8 days leading up to exams. So a good effort by Joey. So the friend who contemplated dropping out the least times in one day was Joe, our good mate Joey. The next one wants us to tell them the friend with the largest range of contemplation. So let's say largest range. So who is the friend who contemplated, well, had the largest range in terms of how many times they contemplated dropping out? So let's have a look here, largest range. Now we can see that Carly definitely has the smallest. She doesn't have any whiskers on her box and whisker plot, so that'll be because Q1 and the minimum have the same value, and the same with her Q3 and maximum, also going to have the same value. So looking at this, Sam has a range of, it looks like, between 8 and 3, so that would be a range of 5. Joey has a range between 6 and 1, so once again, a range of 5. Nev is between 9 and 3, which would be a range of 6. So just by inspection, once again, you can do a couple of calculations to calculate range. But it's fairly apparent just by a quick look there that the largest range belongs to Nev. Awesome, so that's question A taken care of. Let's have a look now at part B. Hopefully this texter doesn't die on me. Alrighty, so Reading from the parallel box plots, we know that for the 8 days, Carly's contemplations were first quartile. So Q1 was equal to 6. The median for Carly was 6.5. And Q3, or the third quartile, was 8. Write down the 8 numbers of times Carly contemplated becoming an exotic dancer each day in whole numbers. So we're going to give ourselves 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 numbers to go off. So we know that in Carly's first quartile happens to be 6. So let's look at Carly's box and whisker plot here. So the reason this is interesting and slightly confusing is because we don't have these whiskers. However, what we can deduce just by looking at Carly's box and whisker plot is, number one, the minimum is 6 and the maximum is 8. So we can put in those two numbers straight away. So one of the numbers is 6, one of the numbers is 8. Now Carly's median is going to occur between the 4th and 5th value, because we've got 8 numbers here, so between 4 and 5 is going to give us the median. Now they give us a value of 6.5 here, which means we could have a value of 6 and a value of 7, but then also we could have a value of 5 and a value of 8. We're not sure yet, so we're going to leave that for now and have a look at what else we come up against. So Q1 is equal to 6, which means that between these two values here, if I'm going to have a value of 6, then, my Q1, I should point these out. Q1 is going to occur here. The median is going to happen here, and Q3, or the third quartile, is going to occur here. Now, if I've got a 6 down here, that means that this is my lowest number, this is my minimum, and I've done these in sort of ascending order, which means that this can't possibly be a 5, and if my Q1 is 6, that means that both of these numbers here must also be 6s. Next up, if we're looking at, of course, these are all going to be whole numbers. We can't have decimals in between here, guys, because you can't half contemplate wanting to be an exotic dancer. Maybe you can, but for the sake of this question, we're going to say you can't. The median at 6.5. Now, this number can't possibly be a 7, because if this is 7, then this must also be 7 or higher, which would mean that our median would be above 6.5. So what we know is that this must be a 6, and our next number must be a 7. For Q3, we've got 2 spaces left. Now, in order to get an average of 8, we could have 7, 7, or we could have, 7, 7. If we're to get an average of 8, to get our Q3 of 8, we could have 8, 8, or we could have 7, 9, except this can't possibly be a 9 because our maximum occurs at 8. So we know that our final 2 numbers are 8 and 8. Alright, I think that takes care of that question. Guys, if you have any questions about what's going on here or in part A, please drop them in the comments below, or hit us up with a message on our Facebook page, Triumph Tutoring, and someone will be sure to give you a hand.